Various studies show that mushrooms are really good for your immune system health and may be linked with lower prevalence of neurologic disorders such as depression, even cognitive decline like Alzheimer's. So in today's video, we're going to cook some mushrooms. I'm going to share with you how to properly cook mushrooms and prepare them using the Pluck spices and an easy cooking method that I learned from my friend Daniel Winkler, who has a wild foraging mushroom guide. So it's mushroom season during the fall and the winter, also sometimes in the spring with morels. So in today's show, we're going to cook two different types of mushrooms. We have the shiitake mushrooms, which can be found at most grocery stores, and we have the wild harvested chanterelles. These are phenomenal. They are found here in the Northwest. They have a yellow type flavor. The first thing you want to do is rinse your mushrooms, because unless you harvested them yourself, you don't know what hands were on them. And I like to break them apart a little bit because these grow wild here in the Northwest, but you pull out a few pine needles because you don't want that in the cooking. And then we're gonna rinse them off, and then we're gonna saute them in some garlic and butter, okay? It's good to mix and match. All the different types of mushrooms have their own unique health benefits. I know lion's mane has a lot of health benefits purportedly for brain health and all that. I just honestly don't really like the taste of lion's mane. Now, when it comes to the mushrooms, they do cook down quite a bit, and that's the way to make them very flavorful. So rinse them with water. These are easy to cook. I mean, anyone can do this. And I don't mind if there's a little water dripping. You know, they don't have to be totally dry. We put them onto our stainless steel or cast iron pan. I'm gonna split this chanterelle. Again, numerous studies, I can share these with you on the screen right now, show that people that consume mushrooms have a lower prevalence of cancer, less inflammation, better mood and mental wellness, and possibly they might even help prevent dementia and Alzheimer's, okay? So the way to make mushrooms really taste great is you want to cook the water out of them first, then you'll bring in your different flavors. What we're going to do now is mince up some garlic while the water is getting out of the mushrooms. It's going to help break down some of the cell membrane components of the mushrooms, make them easier to digest. And once the water is out of the mushrooms, we can incorporate some of the different flavor profiles. Okay, so for this recipe, these are the three different spices we're gonna add. We're gonna add the Pluck seasoning here. I'll put a link in the description below. What's nice about this is grass-fed and organic liver, kidney, spleen, and heart, along with, you have garlic, you have some real salt, you have some additional spices there. We're gonna take 2 cloves of garlic and a little bit of ginger here. So I'm gonna rinse the ginger off. You might say, well, why the ginger? Well, ginger is so good for gut health. It's good for the immune system. There's anti-inflammatory benefits. And I just love the flavor of ginger. Okay. So this is an organic ginger root. You just take the skin off, like so. Okay, now we're gonna mince the ginger up. Once we get all the skin off, we're gonna mince this up finely, okay? So you really wanna get the chunks out. Okay, so now we're gonna take a clove of garlic. The easy way that I like to prepare garlic at first, instead of trying to peel this off, is to just take your knife and squeeze it. What that's going to do is break the skin off the garlic and make it much easier to work with. Okay, so now, just like we did with the ginger, we're gonna mince this along the length of the garlic and then come in perpendicular with fine cuts. Then what we do is we take our knife. Now, if you have a garlic press, of course you can use that. I like to use the knife, just out of convenient. So you really want to squish the garlic and get all the essential oils out. So now everything is prepared, everything is ready. All we're waiting on is for the water to come out of the mushroom. So while that is cooking, just want to thank you for being here. If you're enjoying this content, please hit that like button. Let me know what mushrooms you like in the comment section below. And if you haven't yet subscribed, please do so you get notified when we launch new cooking and science-based videos. So let's go back and look at our mushrooms. So as you can see, the water is cooking out nicely from our mushrooms. And we want the water to get out of the mushrooms prior to us cooking with them, because if we don't, the flavors, it's gonna taste very mushroomy, if you will. So what we're gonna do to accelerate this process is we're gonna use our stainless steel strainer that we've used for other recipes. We're gonna put the mushrooms on here just for half a second, let some of that water come out. And this is a nice way to prevent the mushrooms from having that overly pungent mushroom flavor, okay? So now that the water's out, we dump it back in. We might do that one more time. These chanterelles happen to have a lot of water content in them, so we still have our pan on medium, And the mushrooms are now getting very soft, which is what we're looking for. Okay, so they've been cooking for about 4 minutes now, and there's a lot of water still coming out. So we're gonna go back to our strainer. Again, this is an optional step. I like to do this, especially for people that are not regular consumers of mushrooms, because you're gonna get some of that pungent mushroom flavor out, and we can add in and bring in the flavors that we're looking for. So we're getting a lot of that water that's coming out. Probably not a lot of nutrition in that water, just kind of a mushroomy, kind of pungent water there. So we're gonna go back. So when you start to hear them stick a little bit to the side, generally what that means is most of the water has been cooked out, and we're gonna bring on the flavors that we're looking for. If you do see some pine needles, you just pull them out, especially if you're cooking wild harvested mushrooms, which I generally recommend. Now I just so happen to have some lamb fat, so we're gonna use that instead of butter. About 2 tablespoons of the lamb fat. So now we're gonna take our minced garlic and ginger. Again, this will give this a nice pungent flavor. There's a lot of health benefits to both garlic and ginger, particularly in the winter during the cold and flu season. I'm gonna let this cook for another 3 to 4 minutes. We're just gonna eyeball. Yeah, so it's starting to stick here. I'm gonna turn this down just a little bit. We're gonna add in our Pluck Zesty Garlic seasoning. Again, you're getting grass-fed liver, spleen, little heart. Mix this around. Great natural flavor with Redmond real salt. Okay. Okay, so the key to know when mushrooms are done is based upon the feel, which I know is a little subjective, and you have to get your hands into cooking to actually know when they're ready. You want them to be nice and soft, okay? Okay, so these mushrooms have been cooking for about 10 minutes. They're just the right texture. They are perfect. Again, we have a mixture of chanterelles with ginger, garlic, and a spice blend that is just phenomenal, the Pluck Spice Blend. So let's do our taste test. Those are perfect. You could even cook them for just a minute or two longer, but the ginger and the garlic really bring out the flavor. So hopefully you found this recipe helpful. If you did, please hit that like button. Be sure to subscribe to the channel and let me know in the comment section what you think after trying to incorporate more mushrooms into your diet. Remember, various studies show that people that consume mushrooms have a lower prevalence of cancer, better immune health, and possibly are linked with a lower prevalence of cognitive decline. So start eating mushrooms several days per week.